Testing, testing, testing. Oh, there we go. We're picking up audio now. Waiting for the control booth for a thumbs up. Got a thumbs up. Excellent.
Clear.
All right. Thanks for sitting with conservation during that technical difficulty there. It's certainly my fault, so I apologize about that. Welcome to the March 4th meeting of the Derry Conservation Commission. And prior to calling the meeting to order, I will ask that we silence our cell phones early prior to the rising of the Pledge of Allegiance. Those for the board and in the audience, please silence your phones, and we will rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome. In case of emergency this evening, please do not use the elevator. We have stairs in the back as well as an emergency exit up to the front. Member of the commission will help you if you need support. I will start with an introduction of commission members this evening. To my right.
Will Lowenthal, good evening.
Bob Wooster, good evening.
Eileen Chabot, good evening.
Paul Dion, good evening.
And Jeannie Cunningham, good evening.
And I'm James Duggan, the chair. I will start with the approval of minutes from 12/18/23. Yes, it's been that long since we had a meeting. We had one non-public sandwiched in there. Pass them out for review. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Will Lowenthal motions. Do we have a second?
I
I'll second.
Ooh, Bob Boonstra. I think I heard that one first. Bob seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Abstain?
Opposed?
No, abstain,
Abstentions?
because I wasn't there.
Eileen? All? Jeannie? Actually, you know what? Let me make one thing. Jeannie, will you sit for Rick Bazanga this evening? I should have sat you before. I apologize.
Yes,
Perfect. Okay. And on the minutes? Yes, no, or abstain?
yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yes, motion carries. See the rust? You just shake it off the first time back, you know? Shaking it off the first time back. Awesome. So moving into some correspondence this evening, we did receive Katie Bates's report for a couple of our properties from CELT. It is for Ferdinando 1 and 2, as well as Gunther Nelson, so I'll pass those around. This is a little bit of a different format. You know, we've gotten some written letters. We haven't necessarily got the software printouts. I actually prefer this version, to be honest, than what we've got in the past, and I'm going to let them know that I appreciate that. So I'll send those down that way first to review for those that want to see those. We also received our annual inspection for the Ashley Drive Walmart. This is for the drainage and detention pond inspection reports. They were found to be in service with no deficiencies. We get these, we've been requesting these on our commercial plans going forward, that we want them from every applicant. I will pass this one in this direction. I know Will likes to typically see that one. A few notices from DES this evening. The first one is a utility statutory permit by notification. This is for Eversource Energy. These have been ongoing projects throughout the town. This is a utility SPN administratively complete, and it met the criteria, so work can move forward. Next one is for 13 Field Road, tax map 56, lot 001. This is on Beaver Lake. This is for a shoreland permit application that has met or exceeded the requirements of RSA 48.3-B. This is for approved impact of 8,200 square feet of protected shoreland in order to build a new structure with attached garage, deck, driveway, well, and other utilities. Impervious surface area approved, 12.1%. Natural woodland required per RSA 48.3B:9, 3,643 square feet. Next notice from DES. This is for a documented violation, 21 Germantown Road, Derry, tax map 19, lot 094, found to be a true violation, not a pending investigation. There has been instructions handed down by DES. That will stay right there.
Right, I remember that. Oh.
Next is a shoreland permit application received but not approved. This is for 12 Taylor Brook Lane, Derry, tax map 18, lot 32. So we'll leave that as is. I will pass these DES notices down for folks if they'd like to read them. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I just make an observation about the Walmart retention ponds?
Yes, sir.
It's a good report. Every single one of them has had to have had trash bags removed, large trash bags.
Yep.
So if we could just remind the public that these areas are not for trash disposal.
Okay. Please don't throw your trash in the detention basins at our commercial properties. Be helpful. Okay. Our main function of business this evening that was on the list was kind of some officer discussion for the Conservation Commission going forward for the rest of 2024. As you can see tonight, we have a newish old member in attendance in Mr. Paul Dion, who's been recently appointed as an alternate. So, I mean, I'll give a moment for Paul to give his history on the commission, but we welcome him back with open arms, and we'll continue the discussion thereafter. So, give it to Paul for a moment.
I was on the commission, I believe, for 27 years previously. About 15 of that, I was chairman. I was on the Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions for several years, and I understand Eileen's on it now. I was the president for 4 or 5 years. I'm really glad to be back.
We're glad to have you back.
Very glad.
Well, thank you, Paul.
Mr. Chairman, may I interject something here?
Please do.
This is my last meeting. I did not choose to re-up, as we call it, for various reasons. I want to say that it has been a privilege to have served in this capacity for 7 odd years, and it's been really an honor to have worked with all of you, and I thank you for working with me on this.
Very well.
Well, Will, we appreciate the work that you've done on this board, specifically coming in fresh, giving some new ideas, helping out with the Broadview Garden for many years.
Yeah, you did an outstanding job
And
on
have done a
Broadview.
fantastic stewardship of that property, and dare I say, made great enhancements in terms of management suggestions, your work with UNH Cooperative Extension Master Gardener Program in terms of supporting some of the funding. And so we can take it offline, but maybe still involved in some capacity with the garden, or maybe not.
No, I will be involved. I will still be stewarding the garden.
Oh, bravo.
Awesome, awesome.
Great.
It's good
Okay.
that we're not losing that.
All right.
Good.
Well, let's continue to talk about that, because we've always talked as the board of maybe figuring out a way to make that community garden kind of self-sustaining in terms of not just one person sharing the work, but the gardener sharing the work. So maybe its own little board, or, something that we can collaborate on so it's shared by many and not just few. So let's keep working on that.
Okay.
All right. Well, we added one, subtracted another, so we might as well just keep going down the line.
I also am,
You are not re-upping either.
I'm not re-upping. either.
Okay, that was on my list this evening.
Yeah, I hope it's not me.
No, Paul comes back for one
Nice going,
meeting.
Paul.
Shrinking hair.
I was only an alternate anyway. but
Don't say only an
I was
alternate.
an alternate, not a member.
An alternate serves a very
I
important
know.
role.
I
Very
know.
important.
Yes.
And
Wow.
I did very much enjoy all of you and all that you do, and I'm just in awe of everything that you do. And I'm very grateful for the time that I spent here.
We
Well,
were
thank you.
grateful to have you. You
Eileen.
Well, thank you,
wish you
Gene.
weren't leaving. And I wish, Will, you weren't leaving.
All right, well, so I know Bob Spurl is not here tonight. He's also up for re-upping as a member. He has a physical seat as a member. So just so we're clear, Gene was an alternate, Bob was a permanent member, Will was a permanent member who did not re-up, and that's okay. We had an older one on the list in Justin, who has not been here as an alternate for a while, but unfortunately there was not a formal letter sent over, but his term is also up, so he will be up. And so we've got some openings, and we'll need some folks to volunteer to step up and be part of this commission. In case of people go on vacations, we need people to vote on critical things. We do have some reasonable developments that we've seen over the past couple of years in terms of scope and scale that we've needed multiple site walks on, a lot of different eyes on.
Yep.
I still believe that we'll see our fair share of, subdivision plans and other things over the next couple of years, so we'll want to make sure that we fully stock this board. I myself have talked to the commission and have shared with most folks on here my plan to step away at the beginning of this year, in fact, right after this meeting. But I have a year left, and kind of opted, of course, with the news now too, that we have some other folks that have chosen some pathways. I'm more apt to kind of at least stay put for the time being, but will not be re-upping once my year term is over. I may not make every meeting moving forward going down the pike, but I will make as many as I possibly can until my full term is up. So for those that chose not to re-up, I understand. I'm in the same boat, right? Life happens, you got a million things going on, you want to enjoy different parts, and I'm early, so I got work and kids and family. Some folks are retirement, helping with our garden, which is a full-time job, and working, and others, so. But a call to action to the community. If anybody's interested in coming onto the board, please let us know. Okay. Well, geez, any smiles out here tonight? That's rough. No, we do have some good work to be done. I mean, if you look at what we did, and Rick Bazanga stepped in for me while I was away last week and gave an update to the council. When you think about kind of where we've been the last couple of years and where we're going with some of our properties, we've taken a lot of baby steps in a lot of different arenas, but there's still big steps to come, right? We've got some trail work we need to do up in Cole Marsh. We got to get that property under control. We've got to continue to get that digital signage and mapping piece of this unlocked with resources and branding that we need to develop. We need a secretary, right? So we'll have an RFP out for a secretary for the board upcoming. We started some website work, although we kind of mixed around with that, but we could certainly do more in that arena as well. And I think the connectivity piece with other commissions, we had the one meeting.
Yeah, we should start having some roundtables with other
Yeah, we had the one
commissions.
meeting in Chester, and it would be nice if we could get those towns back together to kind
Yes,
of
it
have a
would.
meeting of the minds and think of more of that master planning and green space planning that we've been missing as commissions. And although Derry is different than those in terms of capacity
But
and
those
what
other
we do,
commissions had a lot of good ideas that we can,
I would certainly,
borrow from.
I would certainly agree.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that's been 5 years since we did
Understand.
that, at least 5 years, right?
Yeah.
It was certainly pre-COVID,
commissions.
right?
Has it been 5 total years since we had that meeting?
I don't know if it's been 5 years.
But-
Gee, time
well,
flies
I'm sure it was
fast.
pre-COVID,
It's probably at least 4,
Yeah, I
but,
was here,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it was in Sandown, right?
so.
Yeah. Bob?
Yes, Sandown was going to host a hike in the evening at one of their properties. It got rained out, I guess, for the second year in a row, but I was going to go to that and see if we could establish some connections there.
Yeah, they have some nice conservation areas. Their town forest especially is quite good. The trails are really good.
So we'll have to move the actual figuring out of officers for the 24 meeting into next year, or into our next meeting, not next year. My God, what if we wait a whole year? Into our next meeting, of course, when we get everybody back together. Hopefully at that point, Grace can make it. We'll know where Bob Boonstra sits, and we'll have that
It's right
discussion then. Bob Spurl, sorry. Again, shaking off the rust. It's the first meeting of the year. And I'd also like to have a chance to kind of sit back again. We kicked off last year getting with George and Mike Fowler, kind of talking about, the status of where the town was, some of the best practices, the things we would like to see, things that they would like to see, and vice versa in terms of what our board is responsible for. I thought that was a healthy session. Thought it was a good session. And I think it'd be pertinent to have at least a 30-minute workshop with them in place of one of our meetings, either at the beginning or the end, just to kind of level set back again, especially if we get some new folks onto the board.
Right.
To kind of understand what this board does and really get intertwined with the other folks in town, right? So it's not just myself or vice chair coming in and talking with George or Mark LaRue or Bob Mackey. everybody can feel comfortable as a steward of conservation to come in and have those conversations. So that'd be something I'd like to do once we get the board kind of reestablished here over the next couple of meetings, figuring out how do we leverage getting those contacts for everybody so people feel more intertwined into what conservation does. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Makes sense. Okay. Eileen, you shared a few things with me, and I'm trying to pull them up,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you had shared a couple of things. There is a funding sources webinar that is happening this week on Thursday during the day. So I'm going to try to make,
About the lunchtime series?
yes,
Yeah.
make part of that. But there was something else you wanted to bring up in terms of the changes and,
Oh, there's a, one thing I mentioned was there's a bill that's gone out of the House and also when it got sent to the committee, the Natural Resources Committee, the committee voted on it and said they didn't see a problem with towns and cities being allowed to decide whether Conservation Commission should be appointed or elected in their respective town or city. It hasn't gone, further than the committee yet, but it is going to go to the Senate for a vote. So, the NHACC was opposed to that because we kind of felt like, wow, if a town decides that the Conservation Commission members have to be elected, that's going to be an undue burden on members because you have to spend money to get signs. and-
Absolutely.
the election
the
cycle
rest,
versus being appointed.
And then also, you'd have this kind of connection, the town fathers would be able to manipulate you as well, if you're an elected official versus an appointed official. So it's, we felt that we'd take the position to oppose that. But
Yeah, I agree with
the
that.
legislature didn't seem to think it was a problem because they said, each town and city can decide for themselves what's best for them. Well,
Yeah,
I still
well,
don't
I would hope that if that did get passed, our town would vote to keep the same process
I
we
believe in
had.
the state
us
you
as
can elect
appointed.
some planning boards are elected.
Yes,
And ours is
right, some
appointed.
are, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's
Yeah,
hope
no,
that
I
Derry
agree.
isn't gonna do that. But anyhow, I thought everybody should know about that.
Oh, and I think it's April 24th is the Saving Special Places.
I don't think I have that
The
one
old
yet.
I don't have that one either.
NHACC annual meeting, if you will.
So one of the things on my list too that you reminded me of, Eileen, was, what is our town planning for Earth Day? And it's an interesting thing because one, we haven't had a lot of snow this year, but I see a lot of Bud Light cans and Twisted Teas littering our roadside along with other trash. So our dairy cleanups were passed over to Parks and Rec, and they were doing a lot of the promotion and organization of that. So it's on my list to check with them to see if that's still on their radar and if that's being promoted for the upcoming season. Because in my eyes, the town desperately needs it. Desperately needs it. So, and with the warm weather breaking, it feels like hopefully it'll get here sooner rather than later and people will want to be motivated to get up and clean up. So at our next meeting together, I'll update whether or not the town actually has any plans to continue to roll that out through the rec department. Other than that, I don't have a ton of other business this evening. We do have some things that we do need to discuss in terms of an ongoing action plan for a potential acquisition. So at the bottom of all of our meetings, we have a note that at any point we can go into and vote to convene to go into a non-public meeting in compliance with RSA 91A:D, Section 3. A motion to do so will be made within the public session, which we will go into a non-public, therefore ending this meeting. So I will entertain a motion to enter into non-public per that RSA.
So moved?
Bob Boonstra moves. Do we have a second?
I second.
Will Lowenthal seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 You have to do a voice vote
We have to do a voice roll call?
unless the law's changed.
Okay. Will?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Chair votes yes.
Yes,
Who do you want me to sit for?
Grace Reisdorf.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Board votes yes.
I agree.
So that'll effectively end the meeting and we'll be good to go. Thank you.